We have such a deep tradition around quality teaching and learning here. I mean, it goes back to the very days of getting started in 1829 at the Mechanics Institute and the Athenaeum. Teaching is at the backbone of what RIT is all about. Now, fast forward to 20 years ago, where we made the bold decision that to be competitive in a rapidly changing world, we needed to introduce the notion of scholarship and research, because we needed to model this lifelong learning that we want our students to have when they graduate. And to do that, that meant our faculty and our students, while they're here, needed to embrace this very core piece of our mission, a new piece of our mission. And as you think about those two threads of DNA that makes up RIT, I can't help but think that we're poised at this institution to excel at the scholarship of pedagogy. Well, I couldn't have been more pleased when I heard about the very grassroots effort emerging from the College of Science when it came to fruition that we had serious scientists looking at discipline-based education, because it's exactly in that sweet spot behind our strong tradition of teaching together with our new aspirations around research. It's a perfect match for us. And CASTLE is exactly the kinds of activity in that domain that we want to see. Rigorous research that is documented, disseminated, and externally validated. And what I really especially like is, again, it gets to that grassroots kind of collaboration, is how this is coming from faculty and students in a big way. But beyond just this nice synergy between our tradition and our aspirations, it also directly impacts our priorities that we have on this campus. If you think about student success and what is the ingredient for why student success is so important, it's really about engaging our students, giving them those opportunities to really dive into their learning environment. And we know today that students are clamoring for this research opportunity, that more and more students are coming to us wanting to have this experience. And as I look around the room and look at these wonderful posters and look at the incredible, thoughtful, rigorous research projects that students have done, I know that we're on the right track with what CASTLE is all about. So it's matching our aspirations and our goals around student success. But it's also matching our aspirations around continuing to undergird the importance of instruction here at RIT, because it's introducing new pedagogies and then testing them to see if they have validity. Flipped classrooms are on some of these posters. Our learning assistance programs are embedded throughout all this. These are new ideas that we are certainly hopeful will make a difference in the quality of instruction and the learning that's going on at RIT, but we're certainly willing to realize what the results are telling us and decide whether we need to make changes to them as well. This is exactly the kind of priority that we like to see here. The discipline-based research, I'm sure there'll be more conversation about it, but you see it embedded in all these posters. It is not just expository papers on pedagogy. This is real results that are statistically analyzed and tested, and then we look for correlations on this. This is exactly the kinds of research under the scholarship of pedagogy we want to see. It's interdisciplinary. I don't have to say much at all. You just look around the room at how interdisciplinary this is. We've got not only a College of Science represented here, but we've got a College of Applied Science and Technology, which I think is also going to be very engaged in this very matter. So think about all those priorities and you see what a great fit CASTLE is for RIT. More than anything else, though, I say it meets not just those priorities, but the big priorities. It talks about innovation. You see these innovations in the teaching and learning. It increases our aspects of reaching out to a diverse student body that has different learning styles. And this is going to become increasingly important as the changing demographics of our students becomes a reality. More and more we are reaching out beyond New York State, beyond the Northeast, to our students that are coming from Texas, California, and from foreign countries like Saudi Arabia. There are different cultural aspects to learning, and this group is right at the forefront of understanding what those differences are and adding to our understanding. Now, there's lots of different components to what CASEL is all about, and I just want to talk a little bit about those, but I'm sure that Sophia and Scott will add more flavor to them. By far, my favorite program here is only because of the name, and that is SMERC. It stands for Science and Mathematics Education Research Collaborative, and really it has been the locus, the nexus of this collaborative effort across many different faculty. But it really has become a national leader in discipline-based STEM education. Already they have 7 articles to the group's efforts, $700,000 in external research funding between 2012 and 2014. That's phenomenal, because this is just a nascent kind of group coming together, and already they have established a very strong reputation in attracting external funding. So it really is a group that we should constantly be looking out for. They've shifted educational practice. They've been pushing flipped classrooms and introducing new student-centered pedagogies. Now, what Scott doesn't know is that I'm going to encourage him to think about a science and mathematics education research special honors, to acknowledge the work that people are doing. And I do that partly because I really like the acronym, SMERSH. So if you're a James Bond fan, you'll know that SMERSH was the Soviet counterintelligence group that we I think we got to do this. It just makes a lot of sense. But there's other components of CASEL, like Project Kaleidoscope. This is a national organization that really has been at the forefront of innovation in science education, STEM education more broadly, for the last 30, 40 years. I happen to serve on the national board for Project Kaleidoscope and have been deeply engaged in leading that effort. It's a tremendous organization. We have a number of faculty that are fellows of Project Kaleidoscope, and I know that they're in the room here. So faculty who are fellows of Project Kaleidoscope, would you raise your hand? Aren't you one of them? And Elizabeth and Sandy and terrific Tom. So thank you for this. This is a group that I think also brings fresh ideas into pedagogy and to discipline-based research. The Learning Assistant Program facilitates course transformations. I'm very excited by this, and I and Sophia have put resources against it, because what it is a program where students actually get engaged with the instruction, working side by a faculty member to transform classroom pedagogies, often in the form of flipped classrooms, but really realizing the end result, which is to engage the students even deeper on that. So we'll be looking for great things to come out of the Learning Assistant Program. Project Impress is also new to us. This is going to be improving the retention rate of our underrepresented students. As you may be aware, our students of color, particularly our male students, lag behind in both retention and graduation rates. This is a serious issue for not just RIT, but all institutions of higher learning. And we have to address this. We have to understand what are the reasons for this gap and make material progress in this in a very short amount of time, because it's just not acceptable for higher education to accommodate this kind of gap. And I'm confident that the research that's being done in Project Impress and the programs that are introduced in all of this are going to be instrumental in that. Now, all these things, of course, are wonderful, but they take a leader to really make them go, and I can think of no better person who has been instrumental in driving this for us, pulling faculty together, advocating for what we're doing in CASEL than Scott Franklin. So I would like to publicly acknowledge the work that he's doing and thank him for his efforts putting this all together. So let's give a round of applause.